Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Justin's Quest, and in today's video, my quest is to find out how does Silent Hill 2 Remake compare to recent horror games. Silent Hill 2 Remake is a remake of a beloved video game from the PS2 era. I knew about Silent Hill for a long time, but I never tried the originals. I played recent main titles in the series, but those weren't that good, so I thought Silent Hill must be a generic horror franchise. I was very wrong after searching more about the roots of this series. The original games were so important for the horror genre in video games that it inspired a lot of games to follow and imitate Silent Hill. I knew how beloved and well received 2 was, and when I saw it was getting a remake a few years back, I got somewhat excited. Silent Hill 2 was being developed by Bloober Team. I think me and many fans got less excited about that because of their recent run of games, and how Konami was treating its IPs recently, making pachinko or gacha machines rather than video games. And then they officially announced and showed Silent Hill 2 Remake in 2022, and oh boy, it wasn't looking that good. The trailer was confirmed to be an older build of the game, but it looked very rough. Action orientated, sluggish movements, and the graphics being not up to par with modern games hurt this game even before it released. You can show combat, but don't make it the whole point of the trailer because Silent Hill isn't about combat. The reputation Capcom set for remakes was being compared to Silent Hill 2, and it wasn't looking good. Each trailer felt very mediocre, and I wasn't excited until the reviews came in. Each review I saw was super strong with high praise on the overall game. I bought it during a sale around Christmas, and I gotta say this game is surprisingly fucking great. Developed by Bloober Team and published by Konami, Silent Hill 2 is a psychological horror survival game with combat thrown into the mix. The selling point of this game is the tension-built, psychologically messed up environments we find ourselves in. I want to give high praises to the presentation that has been laid out here. I want to start with the gameplay. The gameplay in this game is super good. It feels tight and satisfying to control. It is definitely reminiscent of the Resident Evil remakes. James controls smoothly, his movements aren't sluggish, and it is adaptive. I am so glad they improved how this game controls because those trailers didn't do it justice. James can walk or jog around, but you wish you were running after seeing some of the monsters the game throws at you. The combat isn't anything special, but it gets the job done. You start with a wooden plank with nails coming out of it. Actually, this was a very effective weapon to start with. It was quite powerful compared to other starter weapons in other games. You can take down most monsters with it. You can obviously get more weapons like a metal pipe, a handgun, and a shotgun. The shooting feels simple, but this game isn't built on combat, it is built on navigating your way through all the horrors and tensions. I wish the shooting had more realism to it. The character model and the shooting looks and feels very stiff. The feedback on it is good, but I wanted to feel every shot that hit the enemy. Saying that, like I said before, it does get the job done. The flashlight you find in the game was super realistic. The small amount you can see in these dark areas made the game even more creepier. I was super concentrated to the screen to see areas that are all in darkness. And that's how they get you with the scares, because you are only focused on the light, not the darkness around you. The puzzles are quite fun, and again remind me of RE games as there will be a lot of backtracking to open locked doors or finding all the puzzle pieces throughout the map. I just want to say the sound design is just terrific. The static radio cracks whenever an enemy is near you scared the fuck out of me. The noises of these monsters and the overall ambience really sucked me into this fascinating world. The town of Silent Hill is scary, grimy, unhinged, and more importantly, foggy. The fog effect in this game is just incredible. When you are outdoors, it is so hard to see anything past 2 meters. Navigating through Silent Hill was a challenge. I was checking the game's map every time. I gotta say the map layout is good too. It is easy to distinguish all the places and locked doors. The many locations in this town, from the Brookhaven Hospital to the Woodside apartment, was filled with dread and all kinds of creeps. The world building in little details really did put depth and emphasized the story even more. The otherworld levels were also really haunting. I loved how rusty and beat up the environments looked. They represented James's inner self as they symbolized the emotional and moral decay within James. The atmosphere this game has just incredible. It is supported by the well-crafted soundtrack that elevates everything. The white noise track was stuck in my head for days. The story in this game is every bit good as the gameplay and the music. We start with James Sunderland looking at his own reflection in a dodgy bathroom. He looks lost, but something wrong is going on with him. He lets us know that he received a letter from his deceased wife, Mary, telling him to meet in their special place in Silent Hill. He ponders and reflects about his wife before entering the town of Silent Hill. The whole atmosphere of the game is set up perfectly in this opening sequence. You know exactly what you're getting into in these opening minutes. The build-up while going into the town was super eerie, and that's where the game opens up and the story progresses. The whole mystery of why James being there, even if his wife was dead, the creatures who haunt him, and what has happened to this once functioning town is told superbly. James will go through the town being challenged and meeting a handful of characters along the way. James as a character was super well written. The performance by Luke Roberts elevated the material from the original game. His voice acting, movement, and the overall acting was impressive. He really sold me on this character being a downer. He is lost psychologically and emotionally. The character is a broken man who is guilt-ridden, and the challenges he faces because of his actions reflect the world around him. I know this game is old, but there are many players who will experience it through this remake like me, so I don't want to spoil much. You will meet some characters who are facing their own demons in this town like Angela and Eddie. Seeing the contrast between them and James was striking, as it highlighted James' own struggles and the way in which guilt, denial, and trauma manifest differently in each person. We also follow a little girl called Laura, who mocks and makes fun of people we encounter in the town and James himself. Discovering who she is and why she is there was super intriguing. The most prominent character after James was Maria. Portrayed as a sex appeal and a mystery for James made so much narrative sense. Who sounds and resembles his wife Mary, but looks different in style and hair color. Talking about sex appeal, most of the monsters are portrayed with revealing clothes, high heels, and very prominently showing lots of legs. Don't get me wrong, they are all disgusting looking, but the designs made sense within the story. This was a narrative and creative decision, a visual way of telling the gamer James's inner sexual desires after looking after his bedridden wife. There is so much to analyze with this game, from monsters, the world, and the characters. I really recommend you checking a deep analysis of this game. There's just so much hidden meanings throughout everything. Every monster relates to his state of mind and his guilt and grief. Exploring all these monsters and finding out the meaning for them in relation to the story was the best part for me. This game really did make me think for days. Such a deep game. I felt Pyramid Head's presence every time I saw him. The first time seeing him behind bars with red lighting was just creepy as hell. The battles against the Pyramid Head were tense and you felt all the hits he threw at you. I just wish the battles had more depth, but I was panicking every time I heard them around the map. The twitching movements actually made me laugh. Weird yet fucking creepy. This game is not perfect, but it's an amazing time. I see why people praise Silent Hill 2 so much. I am so glad Bloober Team and Konami remade it for newer audiences like me. Apart from some nitpicks like frequent frame drops, few enemy rarity, and the shooting having not so much of an impact on hits, this game was brilliant. I also wish that James would have reacted more terrified whenever he witnessed these creatures. He just seemed a little bit chill about it most of the time. But I was scared from start to finish. I paused the game so many times. Remake 2 really did creep me out, but this was on another level. The darkness was so well made and the fog effects were some of the best I've seen. I highly recommend you checking this game out. It deserves all the praises. It does stand out in the genre of horror in video games. We got so many great ones these last few years, but this one was stuck in my head for days. Like how Remake 2 made me think about the game so many times last year. My score for Silent Hill 2 Remake is a 9 out of 10. I would really appreciate if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel. What did you think of this remake? Have you played the original? If you did, how does it compare? Let me know down below and I'll see everyone on the next video.
Are you sure about that?